Good day and welcome once again to our class on real analysis. In today's class, we'll be talking about subsequences. Subsequences. Given the sequence a sub n as n moves from 1 to infinity, then a subsequence of a sub n, which is usually denoted as a sub ni as I moves from 1 to infinity, is a sequence which contains some of the elements of the sequence a sub n in the same order. Let's look for a way to define this properly. Let a sub n be a sequence or a sequence of real number, and if a sub n is an increasing sequence, then n1 will be less than n2, will be less than n3, and like that. Therefore, a sub n1, a sub n2, a sub n3, they will be the items or the elements. They are elements of sequence of a sub n. They will be the elements of the subsequence of a sub n, denoted as what? A sub ni. That means that what? Each of these represents the ith term of the original sequence a sub n, and that implies that I will be less than or equal to n. Consider the sequence a sub n as n moves from 1 to infinity. If the terms of the sequence are a1, a2, a3, a4, and it continues like that, a subsequence of a sub n, remember we said that what? It contains some of the terms in a sub n in the same order. So a subsequence of a sub n can be what? Let's pick some of the terms. I can pick a1, a3, a5, a7, and it continues like that. That is like the odd terms in that sequence. Or I choose the even terms, a2, a4, a6, a8, and it continues like that. Or I just choose any term insofar as it what? Maintains the same order. Maintaining the same order in that a3 is after a2, and not A2 coming after A3. What do I mean by that? I can have A2, A3, A5, A9, A11, and it continues like that. These are some of the terms in the original sequence A sub n, but they have what? Maintained the order of the original sequence. However, if I just take any of the terms, if I take A3, I then take A5, I then come back to A1, and I take A2, and I take A4, and then take A3, and then I continue. This is not a subsequence of A sub n. Why? Because it does not maintain order. Because it does not maintain the order of terms in A sub n, and 2, because we also have repeated term. It also has repeated terms, so it will not be a subsequence for our sequence A sub n. It does not maintain order. Why? In the sequence, A1 comes before A3, but here I'm having A1 after A3 and A5. A2 comes before A3. I'm having A1, A2 after A3 and A5. A4 also comes before A5. I'm having A4 after my A5. It does not maintain sequence, and not only that it does not maintain sequence, it also has what? Repeated terms. So it will not be a sub sequence. Now, moving ahead from there, we can see if this is my sequence. A sub n is A1, A2, A3, A4, and it continues like that. And my subsequence A sub ni, if I make use of this one now, A3, A2, A3, A5, A9, A11, and it continues like that. What can we deduce from here? The first term of the subsequence, first term of the subsequence, you can see that the first term of the subsequence A sub n1 equals the second term of the main sequence A2. The second term of the main sequence, the second term of the subsequence rather, equals what? The third term. Of the main sequence A3. The third term of the subsequence A sub n3 is equal to what? The fifth term of the main sequence A5 the fourth term of the subsequence A sub n4 is what? The ninth term of the main sequence A9, and it progresses on like that. What can we bring out from there? A sub n1 is A2, A sub n2 is A3, A sub n3 is A5, A sub n4 is A9, and that means this first term is greater than or equal to A1. This second term is greater than or equal to A2 for an increasing sequence. The third term of the subsequence is greater than or equal to the third term in the main sequence. The fourth term is greater than or equal to the fourth term in the main sequence. This is going to I and this is going to N. Therefore, we can see that I is less than or equal to N. Note, as I said earlier on, in a subsequence, there can't be repetition of terms. Repetition of terms. If there are no repetitions, in the main sequence, also there can't be backward movements. There can't be backward movements. Example, consider the sequence A sub n as n moves from 1 to infinity of reciprocals of numbers. That is, A sub n is what? 1 over n as n moves from 1 to infinity. The terms of the sequence will be what? 1, 1 over 2, 1 over 3, 1 over 4, 1 over 5, 1 over 6, and it continues like that. A subsequence of this sequence an can be what? A sub ni can be 1, 1 over 4, 1 over 9, 1 over 11, and it continues like that. Or can be 1, 1 over 3, 1 over 5, 1 over 6, 1 over 9, and it continues like that, maintaining the order in the sequence. No repetition of terms, no going back of terms. Or it can be 1 over 2, 1 over 4, 1 over 8, and it continues like that. Each term of the subsequence is a term in the original sequence, and it is moving further along in the sequence. However, a sequence like this, 1 over 2, 1 over 3, 1 over 5, 1 over 5, 1 over 5, and it continues, is not a subsequence, the main sequence A sub n. Why? Because it contains a term that is repeated multiple times. Similarly, this also this cannot be regarded, this and this cannot be regarded as a subsequence for the sequence A sub n, because it does not maintain order as 0. If eventually this sequence will come to 0, 0 should not come before 1 over 3. Talk less of repeating 0. It does not maintain order, and also terms are repeated multiple times. As we have here, 1 over 3 is repeated, and this is not repeated in the sequence. 0 is repeated, does not even maintain order, and here order is not kept at all. 1 over 2 should come before 1 over 4. 1 over 3 should come before 1 over 4, but the order is not kept. So these three cannot be considered as subsequence of the sequence of reciprocals of number. However, let's look at another example. Given the sequence a sub n defined as what? It contains the term 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, and it continues like that. A subsequence for that sequence a sub n can be 3, 4, 4, 4. Why? We said this one, terms cannot be repeated, but here we are agreeing that this can be a subsequence of this. Why? Because there are repeated terms. In the main sequence. So if the subsequence is also repeating terms, it will not be a problem insofar as order is maintained. And we can see that what? Order is maintained because 3 comes before 4 in the main sequence, and 3 is also before 4 in the subsequence. For this same sequence, a sequence like this, 3, 4, 4, 2. This now will not be a subsequence of a sub n. Why will it not be a subsequence? Because order is not maintained. Not because it is repeating value. It is okay for it to repeat value since there are repeated value in the main sequence, but it has not kept order. As such, this will not be a subsequence for a sub n. You can also give yourself some examples of sequence and try to bring out subsequence from the sequence. But moving further, if you are given the sequence x sub n to be equals to 1, 1 over 2, 1 over 3, 1 over 4, which is still the sequence of reciprocals of number, we know that this sequence s of n converges to 0, because the greater the n, the more the terms of the sequence tends towards 0. Therefore, every subsequence of x of n must also what? Converge to 0. They will also converge to 0. E.g., a subsequence of this, which can be 1, 1 over 3, 1 over 5, 1 over 7, and so on, odd numbers, we'll see that it is what? Tending towards 0. And also 1 over 2, 1 over 4, 1 over 6, 1 over 8. You can see that what? This also tends towards 0. Therefore, we can conclude by saying a sequence converges to a limit L if and only if all of its subsequences converges to L. We can therefore say that a sequence converges to L if and only if all of its subsequences also converges to L. And that will take us to the next theorem, which will be proved in the next video, and that is the subsequential limit theorem. In this video today, we've tried to define subsequences and to give examples of when we have a subsequence for a sequence and when it is not a subsequence for that sequence. If you have benefited anything from today's video, give it a thumbs up, like and share with your friends and colleagues. Thank you. God bless you. I see you in the next video.